There is an old saying, context is king. We live in this era, especially with social media, where we have an abundance of information readily available to us that is completely lacking context. Regular people, mainstream media companies, they have this tendency to post things with the intention of grabbing your attention, with the sole intention of getting clicks or getting views. Oftentimes, they conveniently leave out the context because they know if the context was included, the headline is not nearly as newsworthy, it's not nearly as interesting. For example, my Pelicans, they choked away a 20-point lead last night, ended up losing by 11 on the road in Golden State. Now, if I posted a screenshot of the box score on Twitter and I said, Warriors humiliate Pelicans on national television, most people would think this was a dominant win by the Warriors. It wasn't. New Orleans, they actually dominated the first 35 minutes of the game. They fell apart late, their legs gave out on them. They couldn't maintain their energy level. It was their third game in 4 days. They were on a back-to-back. There's a lot more context to it than just seeing an 11-point loss. Yesterday afternoon, one of my viewers, he sent me a tweet from Barstool Sports. Now, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw this, I almost took a bite into the shit sandwich. Check it out for yourself. Now, this graphic appears to have been created by Front Office Sports. Barstool, they added their 2 cents by claiming Caitlin Clark and women's college basketball are better than the NBA. They based their thesis on the fact that a game in the Elite Eight, which drew 2.5 million viewers, has outdrawn every NBA regular season game broadcast on ESPN this season. Now, credit where credit is due. This is an appealing piece of propaganda. And look, before we dive into this any further, I do want to give credit to these young women in women's college basketball. I know I spend a lot of time every March shitting on women's college basketball. But like I've said before, my issue is not with the players. When it comes to women's basketball, at least at the college level, my issue is with the mainstream media and how they choose to cover it. WNBA, completely different story. The WNBA is and always will be the ultimate dump. But this tweet from Barstool Sports is another example of the media pretending women's college basketball is bigger than it actually is. And it's not just Barstool. Other media outlets are promoting the same myth. USA Today, they also picked up this polished turd and gave it a good shine. And that's where my problem comes in. I don't like being lied to. Usually, I think it's unfair to compare NBA ratings to women's basketball. But since the media wants to make the comparison, let's go ahead and compare it. Look, there's no denying the fact that Caitlin Clark from Iowa is a star. Haley Van Lith from Louisville, she's a star. When you put stars on television in an intense environment like the Elite Eight, it should not be surprising when they pop a decent rating. But for a major media company like Barstool to claim women's college basketball, or in this case, Caitlin Clark, is better than the NBA, it's just ludicrous. Again, there is so much context missing here. Notice, they did not mention NBA games on TNT, or games that were simulcast on ESPN and ABC. Why do you think that is? Because it would completely destroy this bullshit narrative. Iowa-Louisville on Sunday was the most watched women's basketball game ever outside of the Final Four. 2.5 million viewers on ESPN. That's a great number, but it does not come close to what the NBA is capable of drawing. As of the All-Star break, these are the 10 most watched games of the NBA regular season. As you can see, Thunder-Lakers on February 7th outdrew the entire women's tournament to this point. A regular season game in the middle of fucking February. Most of the regular season games on Christmas Day destroy ratings for the women's national championship game. Hell, the women's Sweet 16 and Elite 8, they're not even beating the regular season in men's college basketball. ESPN broadcast both Duke North Carolina games this season. Combined, they averaged 2.7 million viewers. Again, this is the regular season that we've been talking about here. Since the media wants to compare women's college basketball to the NBA, why don't we compare their regular season ratings to NBA regular season ratings? Between the 3 major networks, TNT, ESPN, ABC, the NBA averages around 1.5 to 1.7 million viewers a game. They average 2.6 million on ABC, between 1 and 1.5 million on TNT and ESPN. And look, these ratings are not good for the NBA. Wasn't long ago they were bringing in over 5 million viewers on ABC alone during the regular season. But since you want to compare NBA ratings to women's college basketball, when the NBA is compared to that, their ratings look great. During the regular season, women's college basketball averaged 199,000 viewers on the ESPN family of networks. I'm no Mina Kimes. I'm not the greatest when it comes to math. But according to my calculations, NBA ratings are 88% higher. But let's keep going. Let's make this unfair comparison even more unfair. The women's tournament is comparable to the NBA playoffs, right? Through the Elite Eight, the women averaged just 660,000 viewers. Now that's up 42% when compared to last year, which, that's great. That's great. But there are still a shitload of games that are struggling to draw an audience. Women's college basketball is top heavy. They have a couple of stars drawing most of the viewers, while the rest are drawing ratings that only Bomani Jones would be envious of. Miami Villanova, 762,000. Virginia Tech Tennessee, 782,000. Louisville Ole Miss, featuring Haley Van Lith, the big star, 733,000. Of all the games throughout the women's tournament, only three have eclipsed 2 million viewers. So let's compare this to the first two rounds of the NBA playoffs last year. I'm not even going to include the conference finals and the NBA finals. This comparison is already unfair. We don't need to make it worse. Like I said, women, 660,000 viewers to this point for the tournament. First two rounds of the NBA playoffs, 3.7 million. It's not even close. Well, KC, maybe Barstool and the rest of the media, maybe they're talking about the product on the court. Women's college basketball and the WNBA, they are far superior to the NBA. Oh, really? Do you really want to go there? First of all, the media is absolutely comparing television ratings, which is why they said the women are outdrawing the NBA on ESPN. But number two, this should actually be a wake-up call to the NBA. It does not matter how woke you are. Doesn't matter how many times you spank the wanker or serve a nice grilled woke wiener. The woke media will always betray you. As soon as a better cause presents itself, like promoting women at the expense of men, the media, they're choosing the women every single time. Now, if Russell Westbrook puts that dress back on and pretends to be a woman, the NBA might have a chance. The media loves to promote men pretending to be women. And lastly, there is no reason to compare the product on the court because there's no comparison. Caitlin Clark could not make the G League. Hell, Caitlin Clark couldn't make a D2 level squad in men's college basketball. There's been a lot of chatter recently regarding the quality of play in the men's tournament. I have been going back and forth this week with one of my regular viewers. We agree on some things, we disagree a lot too, but the debate is always respectful, unlike an email I received this morning from another viewer. You know how we talk about emotional men? This dude was one of them. I might show you guys a screenshot of this email later on. I think this dude broke his battery-powered cucumber last night and took out his frustration on me. He was butthurt and without the assistance of Preparation H. He threatened to never send me another email. Okay, I guess I said something about Major League Baseball that he didn't like. We haven't talked baseball in months, so I have no idea what it was that I said. He was all pissed off because I had the audacity to not watch Major League Baseball, but I watched the NFL. I criticized baseball, but not the NFL, which, by the way, I was critical of the NFL most of the season. Multiple times I pointed out the horrendous quarterback play. But anyway, my boy Langdon was trying to get me to give the women's tournament a chance. I'm going to this weekend. I'm going to give them another shot. But he was also criticizing the men's tournament for the decline in the quality of play. Now, I don't disagree with him. The quality of play in college basketball is absolutely horrendous. It's gotten so bad, I don't even watch it anymore. But even with the quality of play declining, the men's tournament, it's still more entertaining. It's still more competitive. Through the first 2 rounds of the women's tournament, the average margin of victory was over 20 points. Sweet 16, Elite 8, it was 11. Now, sure, there are blowouts for the men too, but 7 out of 12 games in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, they were decided by 7 points or less. In the women's tournament, it was 2. Women's basketball, both at the college level and the WNBA, it is growing for about 3 weeks a year. Men's college basketball draws ratings throughout the season. The NBA consistently draws between 1 and 2 million viewers from October to April. The women draw these ratings for a handful of games in the month of March. Hell, the WNBA never draws 1 million viewers. They struggle to draw 400,000. Like I said last week, the tournament is the draw. The tournament is the star every year. Caitlin Clark is a big star. For now. Haley Van Lith, she's a big star. For now. But what happens when they reach the WNBA level? What happens when they make the transition from star college basketball players to professional dump divers? They're unknown. They go from mainstream stars to faceless names people struggle to remember. What happened to that girl from Iowa? Remember when she scored 40 points in the Sweet 16? Whatever happened to her? Well, the last I heard, she was siphoning waste from the porta potties alongside Bob Griner at the WNBA dump in Phoenix. I have not watched a full women's basketball game in years. I come across it sometimes. I'll watch for a few minutes, get bored, I change the channel. I'm going to give them a chance this weekend. I think the Final Four is Friday night, Iowa, South Carolina. They should pop a good rating for that game. I'm going to throw a couple of $100 down to make it interesting, but I'm going to give the women a chance. My expectations are low, but if they end up disappointing me, you'll definitely hear about it. But give me your thoughts. Barstool, other mainstream media outlets, falsely claiming women's college basketball outdraws the NBA. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.